We're going to have Stephenee do a little work on her horse. What's his name?
This is Carl.
And what's his breed?
He is registered as a buckskin and a paint.
Okay. And you show him, right?
Yes.
In what?
Western Pleasure and Hunt Seat on the Flat.
Okay, good. We were talking a little earlier, and I asked you a little bit about his lead, if he's more comfortable on one lead than the other. Remember what you told me? Which side is he more comfortable on the canter lead?
On the canter lead, he's more comfortable going to the left.
Okay. So the reason I asked that is because most horses are like right-handed people. They're what I call a right front, left hind diagonal horse. They generally have more tension in the right pole and in the left hind, and they're normally more comfortable on the left canter lead. They're often more comfortable bending to the left too than the right, but you said in Carl's case, he's a little more comfortable bending to the right.
Yes.
And that was because you said you practice a lot, your turns to the right?
Yeah, for showmanship we turn to the right, we push into our horse, and then also in the saddle I tend to just want to turn that way as well.
You work more to the right. So she's corrected a little bit of that problem of bending to the right through training and through conditioning. But the fact that he's more comfortable cantering to the left tells me that he might have more tension in the right pole and the left hind. But that's just a 9 out of 10 kind of general statement. In either case, when you're working on the horse, if you get responses and the horse is telling you there's tension somewhere, that's where you go. So I thought we would have her work on Carl and do a little bit of the pole work with the points and the movement in the searching around the pole and in the jawline groove. So do you want to do a little bit of that? And then after, we'll see what we find, and then we'll have you do a little movement technique. So go ahead and start with why don't we loosen this like we do? He's already relaxing into this. Good for you, Carl. And do you remember where we talked about the jawline groove? Searching for responses in there? We'll move. Okay. So you're going to search in there for blinks or any shift in behavior. And you can tell me what you're finding. Right in there?
Yeah.
Okay. Why don't you do a little wiggling there? Bring his nose slightly towards you there, and then soften both hands and do a little wiggle. Good, and then soften. And work your way back up the jawline groove where you searched down. Wiggle. And then move your fingers up here, more farther up, you know, where you came down this way. Just work your way back up where you just searched. Wiggle there, and go on up. Wiggle. Slide on up under the halter a little bit. Do a little wiggling. And continue all the way up towards this pole with that. Right in anywhere you get a blink, or anywhere in general.
I seen him clench his jaw there.
Yeah. And bring his nose a little more toward you, right there, yeah. Horses brace standing straight, so when you're asking for movement, if you bring them a little bit off to the side, they'll often drop their head and relax a little bit. A little wiggle there. Okay. Yeah, we got a lot of blinks there. Okay, and he's blinking a lot there, yeah. And work your way back down again where you just came. And I'm going to put my hands on yours, okay? And we're going to bring your elbow down so you're just touching this way with your fingers, and we're going to add a tiny bit more pressure and soften. Slide down. Tiny bit more pressure. It's when you ask and soften, and then soften. Slide down, tiny bit more, and then soften, and keep coming down. Bring his nose around a little more. Okay, and he's nice and loose as long as he's loose. And then we'll step back and see what he has to say. Or just so as you were able to do that, he's relaxing his left hind, which is good. He was relaxing it before because he was pretty comfortable. But as you're coming down, if he's relaxed, you can ask for more movement as long as you soften after you do it. So you can ask more and then soften, more and then soften. And we're going to turn him around and do the right side, okay? So let's switch sides with him. Come on, buddy, wake up. turn around here. Good boy. And she's trained him to move his feet one by one, which is very nice when you're handling horse. Why don't you come around to this side? And this, I'm going to turn his rump away a little bit. Okay, well, right there, Carl. Okay, and you can, I'm going to move around in front of you.
Okay.
You can do the same thing. You'll start up here searching for blinks, and when you find one,
Right
you'll,
there was a big one.
and wiggle a tiny bit. The right side, he's showing a little more. Wiggle and soften. And just can do exactly what you did on this side and do it down there. Slide, you move on down. And just soften your nose hand for a second. Sometimes when you soften this hand, they'll stop fussing. This is good because this is going to happen from time to time, and you can see what to do about it. The first thing is soften your hand, because he's telling you that's the fidget. So when you soften both hands, it makes it a little more comfortable for him. And then when he stops fidgeting, you ask again. And you'll start to notice, we were noticing this before, you can tell when there's a yawn in there coming out. Their mouth will get kind of like we get when we're going to yawn. And so there's another one. So he is what from the signs, I would say, you can keep going. Sorry, I'm not trying to keep you working, but you got it. You're doing a good job, and we've got him releasing. He's got more tension on the right pole, and he's more comfortable cantering to the left, even though he bends well to the right because she practices a lot bending to the right. But with him, he fits the normal pattern of right pole, left hind horse. Very good. And I mentioned earlier, when you pay attention to these side-to-side differences in the horse, it starts to fit together into a bigger picture. Even if you don't know what it means at the time you're finding, as you work on the horse more and you gather more data, more information, it starts sometimes to fit together into a pattern that makes sense for you. Good boy. Yeah. Well, let's give him a break there. Let's step back. And you can stop at any point during this and see what the horse has to say. You can stop and step back and see what he has to say. You don't lose ground. You just go pick up where you left off again. So don't be afraid to stop and give the horse a break and yourself a break. It's often when, like I said, when you step back, that the horse is more comfortable and will start releasing. That was good. Let's try a little on the hind end, okay? We'll turn him around. So, do you remember the accordions I was demonstrating earlier, where you search for a blink along? Well, he'll probably stand there. I'll come back here with you. So you're going to search along here, stand behind him.
Okay.
You're going to search down here for a blink along here.
Okay.
And then when you get a blink, you're going to stay there. And then you're going to put your other hand here after a second, and you're going to gently close that, just really lightly.
Do I bring this one together?
Yeah, you won't
with
move them. You'll just kind of come. If you were to get a blink here, you would get somewhere down here, and you just kind of gently. I'm going to do it on your shoulder, okay?
Okay.
Like that, gently.
Okay.
Shorten it, watching his eyes. I'll be in charge of this end.
So then just put my hand here?
Yeah, put that hand there. Now search down the side of the sacrum. He's got a line right down his sacrum. He's marked. His sacrum has a mark on it. Stand there, buddy. And if you find a response, there we go. You'll gently shorten that. You'll kind of, compress, shorten it, but really light, and go by his blinks. He's feeling that in his pole, and he's like, stay there, buddy, and you'll continue doing that. And I'll point out something while you're practicing. You see that little kind of groove in his muscle there? There's a little valley there.
This?
Uh-huh.
Yeah.
Search at the top and the bottom of that valley. The reason I'm pointing that out is because there's a nerve that goes deep under the muscles that follows that pathway, the sacrosciatic nerve or the sciatic nerve. And often we get sciatic back pain down the back, right down the back and down our leg. And on horses, when that nerve gets pressure on it from tension, you'll often see that groove there. And that might not always be the case for that groove, but I've found that when you find that groove, if you work in that area, you can help relieve pressure on the muscles that are on top of that nerve.
As I move my bottom hand higher and higher, he seems to get more relaxed.
You follow, yeah, you do that.
Relaxed.
You follow the horse's responses with your hands. That's a very good observation. And Stephenee's new to this. She's new to this. I think the first time she saw us do these specific techniques was yesterday. So she's catching on pretty quick. But the key is following what the horse is telling you. Your hands pretty much soon become connected to what you're seeing in the horse's eye or responses. That kind of guides what you're doing with your hands. And I'll take a deep breath, because often we were waiting for the horse to respond and we hold our breath. And when we let our breath out and relax, the horse often relaxes. So he's dropped his right hind. Now go to the right side and do a little of that in the exact same place. So when the horse drops one hip, you'll go to that side and you'll encourage more and more relaxation on that side. Now you'll come to this side. This is a really good demonstration, because this is going to happen. Each time he shifts leg and relaxes one leg, he's going to release more and more tension. So he's doing the movement part. You're just following it. And his head goes down. Push here, drop head. Very good. You're doing a really good job of following his responses. Now he's hearing something out there, but here's the thing. When there can be something out there all day long, but they're not going to notice it till you start finding stuff. They're looking for a distraction. Then they'll notice what's going on out there, and they'll try to distract themselves. So when that happens, you just keep going. You keep working. I would just keep searching and looking. He's trying to find, he's trying to ignore it. And if nothing happens there, you can search somewhere else. Another area that I like to do when they've dropped their hip is right up at the top of his croup. Right at the very top? Yeah, right in there. If you draw a circle around that line, search in that area. There, he just dropped a little more. Did you feel him drop?
Yep.
Yeah. Now with your right hand, put it on his hip, down lower, right there. Put your hand right there and search there too. Search those two areas. You can do 2 points at once. Once you've established one point, you can, you're getting responses, you can search with the other hand. And in this case, you're kind of doing a little bit of that accordion we were talking about, but it's a big long one. So this is a pretty good demonstration of how this works. And if you were working on this horse in the real world instead of the video world, you would just keep experimenting and trying different points and seeing what the horse responded to, and spend time on those points, keeping in mind that you go back and forth every time he relaxed his leg. So that's a pretty good demonstration.
Yes.
So that's how you would use these techniques. You're going to experiment. You're going to search for where the horse tells you what's going on, and you're going to follow his responses. And if he goes side to side, you'll go side to side with him. And you noticed that when he let his hip go a little more on this side, you felt him give a little bit. You don't always necessarily feel anything happening in your hands, like hardening or softening, but you're noticing what the horse is doing, and you notice that, and I noticed it, and hopefully you noticed it, that at one point he let go even more.
Yes.
So that was good. And there's another aspect to this work, that when you start really tuning into your horse and reading his body language, the horse starts to trust you more. So how did you feel on that, as far as the connection with the horse?
Well, as far as that, every single time.
Here's a stretch. Oh, here we go. Okay. Sorry, he took over the video. we talked about stretching and flexing. When you release all this tension in these muscles, the horse wants to move through the range of motion, so they'll often do a stretch where they stretch their leg or they arch their back. So that was a pretty good demonstration of that. So, but anyways, we were talking about connection and relationship with your horse. So how did you, does this, like, what's your take on that?
Just such small touches, you can get small reactions as well as big reactions, whether they're good or bad. And I think that's neat how just tiny touches and just drawing attention to one area can affect the entire
horse.
body. Yeah.
And a cool thing about this is I notice your horse starts to trust you more once you start speaking this body language of the horse. You start recognizing it. The horse starts to be more calm and relaxed with you. So you almost become more of the herd.
Yeah.
I mean, there's a whole new dimension to the horse's body language that opens up with this. So, well, that was a very good demonstration, I thought, of how to use the techniques, and when you take your time and slow down, how much the horse can react and respond to them.